Hello, hello, welcome to the Mystic Path. I felt very guided today to hop on here and do some energy updates and readings. I'm wishing you all love and light and a happy holiday season. We're getting close, so I zhuzhed up our environment here with some eucalyptus and flowers and lights. Get it a little bit more in the holiday spirit. We're gonna talk, this is gonna be the full moon update for November 30th. It's gonna be a full moon in Gemini. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the messages I have been getting. And then we're gonna pull a couple of cards. The secret language of light. And we'll see what goddesses will be supporting us during this full moon. So these will be the two decks, both very good. I'll read from the book on both of them because their books have lots and lots of good ideas. Okay, so on November 30th, we have a full moon in Gemini coming up. This is also a lunar eclipse. So it's going to make things a little bit more intense than a regular full moon because we got a lunar eclipse happening at the same time, okay? It's our last eclipse for the year. We've had a lot of eclipse and crazy, well, not crazy, this unique astrological things happening this year. Don't want to use the word crazy there. So I was feeling very guided. I took a nap earlier. It's Sunday here and it's been raining all afternoon. And I did a lot of decorating this morning, so I was a little tired. Drained, so I decided to take a little nap before I did readings because if you don't know, a very good way to get your energy back to zero, back to alignment, is to take a nap. And so the funny thing is I set an alarm and my guides woke me up 2 minutes before the alarm went off. And they were like, "We're ready. We have a lot to say." So here I am. I felt them pulling very strongly. So they must have some good things to say in some readings this afternoon. So, okay, so Gemini full moon, also a lunar eclipse. What you're going to find, the energy of this full moon is going to be, there's going to be a lot of change and a lot of feelings of uncertainty in love and money relationships, okay? So in our sector, I kind of look at our life like a Trivial Pursuit pie piece, right? And each pie, something we're supposed to be working on in our journey, right? We have finances, love, self, emotional health. So there's all these different pies. And, the energy changes and the astrology changes. And so right now the astrology is kind of focusing, ultra sharply focused on the love and money pies. That's the Gemini of it all. Okay. Oh, they're funny. They're going to be cheeky today, I can tell. The Gemini of it all. So some things to kind of be aware of is this energy, it provides an environment where anxiety and tension and uncertainty and insecurity can thrive, okay? There will also be a lot more sickness going on globally they want me to mention. So, that in itself will cause a lot of stress and anxious feelings and behaviors because, it's the holidays. And then on top of that, we have a pandemic going on. And that brings me really quickly, I want to say, there are a lot of people struggling because this year has been very hard for many, many people globally. So I just wanted to, I want everybody to keep in mind the holidays are here. There's unprecedented unemployment, stress, all of these things happening right now. So if you have the ability, if you have the privilege and the ability to give, please do so. If you can give food to food banks, if you don't have anything to give, if you can give your time to helping these food banks, your money, if you have, I just remember when I was young, my school would always have like food drives, right? And we would just go raid my grandparents' pantry because they had bazillions of canned goods. And so I just remember all the grandkids, we'd be out there like it was a grocery store with our bags, and we'd be taking things to take to the food drive. And so, even if it's as simple as that, even if it's that you can just share the food you have with someone else, right? If you can share your dinner. Now, I know in a pandemic where we have a pretty sneaky virus around, we shouldn't be sharing food, and we shouldn't be like having people close at our tables. So, what I'm doing is like I bought myself a Thanksgiving meal for my household, and then I bought a Thanksgiving meal and donated it so that, somebody else can also have a Thanksgiving meal. In years past, maybe I would have invited them over, but we really can't be doing that this year because we need to try to get this virus under control. So I just wanted to mention that, this energy coming in for the rest of the year is kind of forcing those of us that haven't moved or started growing or making changes in our life to kind of be better than we were yesterday. I feel like right now the anxiety and the tension and the stress is going to ramp up for those people, because if all of the trauma of 2020 hasn't prompted you into acting and into growing and trying to work through your mental and emotional things, right? Because we talk a lot on this channel about how we can't change the world until we change ourselves, right? I'm sorry, I just want to... Okay, the camera's in a little different place because of I was moving things around today, so I just wanted to make sure you could see everything. Anyway, so, that's just some stuff to think about. Is there's going to be a lot of anxiety and stress going on, and uncertainty and feelings of tension and insecurity. And so we need to be flexible and stay conscious, because otherwise if we're working unconsciously, if we're operating by just following our unconscious patterns and behaviors, we'll be easily kind of sucked into that energy of stress and uncertainty. Have you ever been around somebody that's like having a really bad day, or they're grouchy, or you're in a great mood, and then you run into somebody in the grocery store that's just not a nice person, that's just okay, I have a perfect example. The other day, I was walking with a girlfriend. We walk every week in my neighborhood, and usually we don't wear masks because, because social distance. We walk very far apart, and we talk, whatever. Well, it was a beautiful day the other day, and we both really wanted to walk, but I have a friend that recently has had COVID, and she has a friend who also has COVID. And so we both felt like, well, we've been exposed, so we didn't want to accidentally expose each other, right? If somehow one of us hadn't been already. So we decided we would wear masks on our walk that day. And as we're walking, a woman in my neighborhood made the conscious choice. She saw us, came down off her porch, down into her driveway to meet us where we were walking on the road, to basically say to us, like, why are you wearing masks? You should not be wearing masks while you're exercising. And, I'm not going to give you the whole deal, but she was just giving us a hard time. And so, that's a situation that if my friend and I both weren't conscious people that could see what this was, right? You can get wrapped up, and then the next thing you know, you're like having an argument with a stranger that somebody records and puts on Facebook, right? So because that seems to be what's happening in 2020 a lot, is we have a lot of, they call them Karens and Darrens. And so I saw it exactly for what it was, and because I was being conscious, I didn't get sucked into that argument, and that, I just kindly said to her, well, we both know somebody that has COVID, so we're being courteous to each other by wearing masks. And then because I responded that way and I was very calm, the woman, I think it caught her off guard, because then she was like, oh, well, I guess I understand that then, and walked off, right? When really her intent, probably when she came down off of her porch and put all that effort into meeting us at the street, was to have an argument with us or have some kind of a scuffle with us because we disagree with her thought process. So that's a really good example. When you're conscious and you're really in alignment and minding your own behavior, because again, we've talked before on this channel about how we all just need to worry about ourselves right now, right? The world is literally on fire. We've got a lot of stress going on. So we need to not be so worried about what other people are doing. We need to, and I don't mean that I want to clarify, I don't mean don't have anything to do with other people and be callous. That's not what I mean. What I mean is there's no reason to scold others on their behavior or on the things they may be doing that you don't like, that you would do differently. That's just wasted energy, right? We have two entities on their own journey, and they're both making what they think are the best decisions based on their journey and the filters in their brain. So, and when I say filters in your brain, that's your experiences in life, your experiences, the things you've learned, the programs, your parents have told you over and over again. We don't do that, because that's what I talk about when I mean filters. So, you have two people, and then it's this person thinks, I'm going to tell this person why everything they do is incorrect. And then, of course, this person's going to get defensive. And then you're going to have, just wasted energy, where sometimes we need to just worry about ourselves and know our own place. And, it may not be my place to scold that person for whatever they're doing. Or they may have a valid reason that I don't see or understand for doing whatever they're doing, right? So for me to just come out of myself and start telling them how to live and it's not really the way we should be, right? So that's what I'm trying to say, is basically with this full moon and the energies coming in over the few days, usually it's 3 days before the full moon and 3 days after. So you have a 6-7 day period where these energies are going to be pretty intense. So in that time period, you're going to want to be flexible. You're going to want to be aware that there's a lot of stress and anxiety and tension in the collective, and you're going to want to operate within that instead of maybe triggering that, right? If you're aware that people are on edge then you might make different choices so that you're not purposely triggering them, right? So those are just a few things they want me to say, is like, take advantage. There's going to be a lot of challenges and obstacles coming in, but these are opportunities for growth. So, keep your eyes open, stay in alignment, stay conscious, and try to take advantage of these opportunities for growth, right? Because that's why they're there. Things happen in the world and we can't control them, and all we can do is choose our response and either grow from them or let them spin us out of control. So let's just try. 2020's almost over, right? So let's just try for the next month as a collective to be a little bit more understanding of each other and try to worry about our own selves and focus on our own opportunities for growth. So full moons in general bring focus to home, family, and relationships, right? And because this one's in Gemini, we've added a little love and money in there. So just some things to look out for, some issues that may come up over that 7-day period. There may be some conflict or tension surrounding like work versus home, right? There might be a little potential for conflict in you're working too much or you're too home too much, or also need versus want. The holidays are coming up. I'm in the States, so usually in the States, I'm embarrassed to say this is usually a time of like crazy materialism and consumerism and commercialism. And, they're having Black Friday all the month of November here. So that still is existing. But, we're in the middle of a pandemic. And like I was saying earlier, there are a lot of people who are struggling right now. So I feel like, this isn't a great time for that, right? Like a lot of people have had some very rough stuff this year. They've lost their jobs. They're barely making ends meet. Our government hasn't really come through with the coronavirus relief. Like after the spring, they just kind of left everybody on their own. And, for a lot of people who work in the hospitality industry, events, bars and restaurants, a lot of these people have been laid off and lost their jobs. So it's not even that they're not trying to work. It's that they just can't because of the pandemic. So, so this getting hit right now with all of this Christmas and holidays and, go out and shop, that's going to be triggering a lot of people. So, one of the things you might witness coming up is need versus want. We're going to have to probably really start evaluating, what our needs are versus what our wants are, and what things we don't really need that we can, forego this year or forego from now on because, we now understand how important the need pile is. So those are just some things that you might notice that come up, right? Work versus home issues, a lot of need versus want issues are going to be coming up. And, this energy is already supportive of tension and anxiety and insecurity, like we were talking about earlier. So we just want to keep in mind that, there's going to be a lot of tension and pressure, and that will lead to conflict. That also leads to feeling your energy has been completely drained and you feel exhausted. So, when you're feeling exhausted and you're feeling on edge, you're going to be a lot more quick to jump into that conflict, right? Because you're not thinking consciously because you're tired. So again, just want to remind everybody, protect your energy. There are lots of ways we can do that. crystals, salt baths, even in the shower, just visualizing as the water is going over you, just visualizing that all your stress and tension and any buildup from the day is just, running off of you into the drain. We're going to want to not be around a lot of toxic people, and we all know what I'm talking about, especially around the holidays. Everybody has that one family member that's just toxic to everybody. And some people have whole families that just have toxic patterns and behaviors that, it's really hard to be around, and it's exhausting and draining. So let's try not, because the energy is right for those things in this full moon, let's try not to pile onto ourselves, right? With overthinking and negative self-talk. So those are other things when I talk about protecting our energy, because negative self-talk and overthinking, boy, that can just drain you. You feel like, man, I did nothing today, but I feel like I can barely get up. It's because you did a lot. You just did it in your mind, right? So, I'm going to caution everyone. You're going to want to stay conscious. The good thing with these energies coming in is you're going to have a lot of clarity. You're going to be able, I was just talking about those toxic family members or those toxic family patterns. This energy is going to be very supportive. We were talking about love and money, right? We've kind of touched on money a lot already with the insecurity and instability going on in the world. The love aspect of it is, this energy is going to be very supportive of clarity. You're going to have a lot of clarity, and you're going to be able to see the disharmonious people or the disharmonious patterns or the disharmonious behaviors, even in ourselves. They're going to be very clear to us over this full moon period. So it's going to be very easy for you to see and identify whatever the disharmony is. And again, I just want to caution you, don't react to that disharmony. Ask yourself, how can I consciously clear out this disharmony, right? So because our goal is we want to overcome these challenges, right? We don't want them to trigger us and spin us out of control. We want to be able to meet them, recognize them clearly, meet them head on, calmly, and then, release them by dealing with them in a conscious, healthy, mature way. Okay, so this energy of the full moon is also going to be very supportive of an emotion reset. So the energy is going to be really good for that. So what I was just saying about maturely, consciously addressing issues and handling them, that's a good way as well to reset your emotions and to clear away any baggage from the last 6 months. So they gave me a few ways that this can be done. So when you're confronted with any of this tension or conflict or clarity, if you start to get clarity on where the disharmony is coming from, or the disharmonious frequency in yourself or your life, you're going to want to ask yourself, do you need to make amends to clear this away? Do you need to forgive to clear this away? Or do you need to reevaluate this relationship or this pattern or trigger and let it go? Okay? Because sometimes, one of my favorite phrases is people and relationships are in your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And sometimes one of the healthiest things we can do for ourselves is to recognize when a relationship or behavior or pattern is not serving us any longer, and when it's time to let it go. Because some of those things aren't meant to accompany us on the journey through a lifetime. They're meant to only be with us for a season or a reason to teach us something, right? So that's another good thing during these full moon energies that you can ask yourself these 3 questions. Well, you can ask yourself, I guess, 4 questions. Is this here for a season, a reason, or a lifetime? Can I recognize which one of those it is? If not, then you're going to want to ask yourself, do I need to make amends with this person? Do I need to forgive this situation? Or do I need to reevaluate, like, is this serving my highest good? Is this serving my path to growth and betterment? Okay, so they've told me that's enough now. So let's pull a few cards. So let's just, what is the advice for this full moon coming up? What is the advice? I really like these cards because, one, they're beautiful. Whoop, okay. And 2, like I said, the book has some really good writings. And then that's what goddess is going to be supporting us during this full moon. What goddess or goddesses will be supporting us during this full moon? Okay. Ooh. Well, that's interesting. Just because, okay, we'll start with the goddesses, then we'll get the advice. Because we have Isis and Iris. It's funny, we got the 2. 22 and 24, the card in between didn't want to come play. But we have these 2 beautiful goddess women, Iris and Isis, communication and rebirth. Let's see what we got here. 22. Oh, silly me. I was looking at the page number 22, and that's not correct. Okay. Card 22, Iris. This says, clarity and communication is called for, as your words will have great impact on others right now. It is a wonderful time to start writing that book, telling new stories, and sharing your experience, strength, and hope with others. You have everyone's ear, so choose your message wisely. Others will also desire positive and fruitful communication with you, so get ready for some amazing new opportunities to come from these discussions. Just remember to stay open and be clear about expressing your deepest desires, always speaking with integrity, kindness, and respect for yourself and others. The Greek messenger goddess Iris is thrilled to help your words take flight. Communication improves in all your relationships when she comes to visit. Oh, interesting. This full moon's all about love and money relationships, right? So it makes sense that she would be a supporting energy here. She's trying to help improve the communication in all the relationships in your life. Most important, however, Iris reminds you of the communication you have with the universe. You are always in mutual dialogue, and now is the time to pay attention to the signs and omens in your life. Trust this important yet subtle communication. It will never lead you astray when you listen and act accordingly. Okay, look for the signs. That's good. I like that. So the alignment message for her says, you are facing a moment when communication between you and others may have become disconnected. Perhaps people are withholding information from you or are not being clear about their motives. Now is the time to ask for clarity and to get clear yourself. If you're sitting on the fence and are ambivalent about your direction, say that. Your alignment task is to say no to playing games, no to coercion, no to manipulation. And no to convert intentions. Take a straightforward attitude. Don't be afraid to hear what might disappoint you. Be clear in what you want to say and demand the same from others. The messenger goddess Iris knows the importance of clear communication, and she urges you to speak up for yourself. If you've come from an environment, family, or cultural history where you have not had a voice, this might feel like you're yelling, but that's all right. Times are changing, and now is not the time to be shy. It's okay to feel awkward or flustered. The goddess Iris brings her power of clarity and says it is your turn to be heard, so gather your courage. She is supporting you. The people who are important to you in the long run will listen and witness you. And then you can engage in positive conversation that leads to heartfelt solutions. Even if your voice feels untrue and comes from a victim mentality, you must still speak what is inside you in order for you to heal or change it, or to find a way to the real truth. Let yourself be heard, and the great goddess Iris will send strong teachers and wonderful allies to surround you. Wow, that's a good one. That gave me chills, because that's basically what we were kind of saying the energy is all about right now, is that the only way to deal with these things is to deal with them maturely and speak your truth, and then you can alchemize and heal and change them. So I feel like that card hit it all right on the head, as usual. The universe, right? Okay, now card 24, Isis, rebirth. All right, Isis, her empowerment message. The process of a soul retrieval, resurrection, and rebirth is the theme recurrent through the stories of the Egyptian goddess Isis, and one that she invites you to address now. This is a powerful moment to see some of what you thought you'd lost go through a process of regeneration to live again. Like magic, the pieces that you considered lost in old wounds. Let me start that again. Like magic, the pieces of you that were considered lost in old wounds and stories are ready to be reclaimed in a healthier, more mature version. Where you were hopeless, now there is hope. Where you lost faith, you have the capacity for even more now. Where there was inequity and injustice, now you can see a better way. Where you were abandoned, now you can choose you. You are ready to face these parts of yourself and to gather them together as you step into a newer, more powerful version of yourself, your work and your relationships and your creativity. Have courage. Let go of blame. Claim your accountability, and then co-create something better. You can do this. The goddess Isis has come to help you as a potent supporter in your growth. And the alignment message is, the goddess Isis, with her powers of reincarnation, has a message for you. You are not broken. You are not wounded beyond healing. And opportunities are not necessarily lost forever. Your insistence on defining yourself by your losses and wound stories are not serving you now. Your alignment task is to fully accept things as they are. Choose to find a way to put the pieces back together. Let die what doesn't serve you and focus on what works. There is so much goodness to come from this situation, even if in this moment you feel trapped. The goddess Isis wants only the best for you. As your fierce ally, she will challenge you when you go off track. So pick up the pieces, tell a new story, and find home again. You will be amazed at how beautifully things come together when you reject the trap created by the stories you tell yourself. You have the key, use it. Very good. Both very good. All right. For our advice cards here, we got there is only light and soul writing. So let's take a quick look here. We'll start with soul writing. Okay. Oh my goodness. It's very in alignment with what we just spoke of with Isis. Okay? Because this says, soul writing. We become the stories we tell. You are the author of your story. Write one that inspires you and doesn't let anyone else command the pen. Physical reality is temporary. It is forever changing from one moment to the next. The events and experiences of your life are multidimensional living art. Their purpose and form will shift as your perception of them does. You can view and adjust any story from your past, present, or future. Let go of justifying or analyzing the events that become your stories and lift yourself into a new way of seeing them. Look at the card and imagine that you are the angel rising and connecting to the soul light at the top of the pyramid. From this expanded view, you can see all your stories and their facets from a neutral position. A higher perspective will unveil and reveal what was previously unknown. You may be surprised, shocked, or embarrassed that the story you have identified with is not what you thought it was. Don't stress. This indicates that the stories are shaking loose and healing is occurring. You are doing so well, you are worthy, and you are love. And then it suggests meditative writing, which is basically when you just like stream of consciousness. You don't really think, okay? Don't get a piece of paper and a pad of paper. I do this all the time. It's also called automatic writing. Basically, you just want to close your eyes, sit with yourself for a few moments. Ask yourself maybe one of those questions. What do I need to forgive? And then sit with yourself quietly for a minute. Clear all the thoughts and cobwebs out of your head. And then just start writing. And just write until you don't feel like it anymore, till it stops. And then read what you've written. You'll be surprised. You'll find a lot of insight. That stream of consciousness writing, a lot of insight can be found there. So again, great advice, and I feel like it went right along with what Isis was saying here. You know, it's time for rebirth. You are not the stories you tell about yourself. Okay? So now let's check in here with there is only light, because I feel like going to be very connected here to this Iris communication card. So it says, darkness is just an absence of light. Light is sought after and extraordinary. We seek clarity of light, a lightness of being, and light bulb moments. Light bypasses the analytical mind and takes us straight into loving wisdom. It is time for you to step into your shining light. Be illuminated. Let light in. Today is the day to release any disturbances in your energy. Happiness will come naturally unless you do something to prevent it from happening. Release all that is stopping happiness from flowing into your world, and it will appear before you. It seems too easy, but it is truly that simple. Until you realize this, you remain connected to the belief that struggle is required. Perhaps more respected and a better lesson-laden path. Wow, I'm going to say that again because that's amazing. You remain connected to the belief that struggle is required, perhaps even more respected and lesson-laden of a path. We often take on the belief that if we struggle, others will think more of us and we will appreciate things more. When you go against your soul, you move away from your brightness. The darkness is a sign it is time to feel your way back into your heart and your soul. Okay, the advice here, place a hand over your heart with the intention of letting go. You will begin to sense words and feelings that are ready to be released. Slow your breathing, remain calm, and say to yourself, I let go of all that no longer serves me, and I come to peace with where I am. Everything you let go of will float to the surface, move beyond you, and simply float out of your aura like layers. This will leave you lighter and ready to branch out and rendezvous with your dreams and desires. Close your eyes and for at least 30 seconds, feel yourself floating. Enjoy this lightness of being. Embrace it. When you feel ready, take a few deep breaths in and out to bring back your physical awareness. And then open your eyes. Okay, I feel like this was a very good full moon chit chat and card pull. I'm wishing you all love and light. I'm wishing you a happy, joyous holiday season. Wherever you are, namaste.